Hi everybody, it's Dennis, the Active Trend Trader. Are you one of the traders who has a difficult time finding great growth stocks to trade every weekend? Well, we've got the answer. Welcome to How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options. We're going to cover three things. Our panel of expert traders has picked out three top shelf growth stocks that are setting up and ready potentially to trade next week. Number two, an analysis of the indexes showing which ones are strongest, which ones are weakest, and what the potential is for a move next week. And then we'll also cover another trading problem or issue that you may be having, and we'll provide an answer to that will help you, one, maximize your profits and minimize your losses. So let's get into today's session right now. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dennis Wilborn, the Active Trend Trader. I want to welcome you to today's session of How to Make Money Trading Stocks and Options, plus some trading tips. I want to welcome both Steve and Anil. Guys, we're basically, the market looks like it wants to maybe soften up a little bit. We'll take a look at the charts. I'm not in a I'm not in a panic because I've been in cash for a week. And that's one of the things you have to remember, that from my own personal account, I've been in cash. We have been trading also with our active trend trading folks. I am not quite about 50% invested there. And so we'll check in with Anil and Steve here shortly about where they're at with their investments. But before we get going, I want to just remember that, remember patience, persistence, and profits. I forgot to add the other P in here, which is planning. I did make a really good post that basically said that planning and hard work lead to prosperity, but shortcuts lead to poverty. And that is one of the ancient proverbs, and it's absolutely on the mark. Oftentimes in trading, some of the things that attracts people to trading is that the allure of, well, it's got to be easy so I can make easy money. And I can tell you, I know enough of Anil's story, I know enough of Steve's story, and I know enough of my story that trading may be simple, but it sure as heck ain't easy. Absolutely. So you want to maximize your profits, minimize your losses. Basically, you're in the right place, because active trend trading is a proven and clear and simple system focused on helping you trade your way to wealth and financial freedom. My objective every year is to hit 40% ROI with a 65% win-loss ratio. That gives me my edge. And knowing this, if I can count on that, and I've averaged over the last 10 years about 37%. So I've come pretty darn close. Until I actually, come very close to meeting that. Let's see. What we want to do for you today is basically save you some time in your review. We're going to do a market review. We've got some great stocks. We have two great stocks, and we're going to look at them from a little bit different perspectives today. And one ETF that Steve's bringing to us. This is our first ETF. Steve, you are basically launching the maiden voyage of providing ETFs to potentially trade. So congratulations.
Oh, thanks to Eric, actually. We've had conversations over the past, and it's looking really, really great as a setup.
Yeah,
an area to set up.
Okay, well, don't let the cat out of the bag yet.
Sure.
So, and remember that all the materials we present are for training purposes. Traders should always pay for trade any new method prior to the risk of their own personal capital. Past performance is not an indication or a promise of future performance. That's the side here. So here's where we're sitting. This is where we're sitting. This is where we were sitting. Actually, it's today, and that didn't click in there the right way, and that's okay. as I kept telling everybody, as we kind of trailed the markets through the year, because the markets jumped up, if you got to remember, very quickly and hit some of the 20 and some of their highs for the years. And they're all showing over 20% earlier in the year. And I said, that's okay. I'm just going to keep doing what I do, trusting my system, and that it would overtake the markets by the end of the year. As you can see, that repeating your trading a system with an edge is doing that. My projection right now is to be at 40, somewhere between 40 and 60% by the end of the year. And with that, I'll be very pleased. And so with that, let's take a look at the indexes. Because I know everybody can hardly wait. You're going to be really shocked when you see this particular entities that we're going to be looking at and the projection of how we're going to be looking at them. So what do we have going on now? Well, we've got a projection here. Let's take a real quick look at the fib and I'm going to take the fib from basically here to here. And as you can see, we're breaking down through the lower level of the fib box, the magic fib box, the 38 to the 618 retracement. We're coming really close to the 78% retracement. We want to be on guard. The 8-day is crossing below the 20-day. That now can turn into some really nice resistance. And so I would be looking for if I close below the 50, I'm looking for a pullback probably pretty darn close to 100% retracement. What does that start setting up for us if we get that? Well, what that starts setting up for us is the potential of a head and shoulders type top. Would that be in one shoulder? That be in the head? And this is not a head and shoulders because this shoulder over here is above the head, if you can see. That would be the head. But a shoulder here, head here. And if we come back down and push back up, apply just some basic, classical technical analysis. If we come down here and get a reversal, I'm not saying don't take that trade because we never know if that's going to be, they're going to blow off and just continue to roll higher. But this is the first time, if we close where we're at in a while, that the 8 is closing. Matter of fact, it's going back all the way to here, which was in March timeframe, where the 8 closed below the 20. But as you can see, it didn't stay down there long. That's one of the things. Short and shallow have been the corrections. So anyway, that's what's going on with the S&P. Again, I'm not, I do not have a signal to buy yet. I do not have I basically, on any kind of a pullback up into levels of past resistance, I would, at least entertain going into a short position, and that's fine. I didn't use a meal, did I? Okay. Let me go back and, well, darn it. Okay. Qs. What's going on with the NASDAQ? Again, NASDAQ. Significant sell-off, and we've had multiple sell-offs there in a row. However, where we're coming to stop at? We're coming to stop right at the uptrend line. That's positive. The steeper uptrend line. Now it could break, and I look over here on the weekly chart. We could break that steeper line and actually still be within the longer-term uptrend. With this line here, there's another uptrend. If you want to be looking at this over the weekend, that you can actually go back to this April, March of 2020 and extend that up and find some lows there. Let's see, there's one right there. Extend that up to the right. And what do we have? Actually, we're breaking that longer term trend line. And if we get a close below that, let me get rid of some of this stuff so that you can see that, is that this may result in a push down, push down lower. We're well above the 50, well above the 30, we're at the 34. And so this could be just a simple, I'm going to come back down to somewhere between the 34 and the 50 and rebound. Again, I'm seeing, guys, I'm seeing just classic topping type of, or not topping as much as tiredness in the market. And oftentimes what you'll see is you'll see a move down, we test the 20. A move down, we test the 34. Now, is this move down here going to test the 50? We'll see. But that's the jackhammer effect that gets these moving averages to start turning over. Right now, what I'm looking on the Qs, I will look to trade the Qs to the long side simply because it basically responds best to trading to the upside. And over the history of the indexes since the NASDAQ came around, the Qs tend to perform better than the other ones. And so if I need to be long, I would look for a potential long there. With that said, I also have to remember, though, based on seasonality, we know that the Russell, as represented by IWM here, the Russell tends to outperform the indexes, the other two indexes, tracking indexes, during the months of October, November, December, and sometimes going all the way into January and February, occasionally into March. So it has a window there when it tends to outperform, and it kind of like Rumpelstiltskin goes back to sleep and just kind of lets things happen. Right now, IWM, we basically, the moving averages are crossed down. We're below the 100-day moving average. We're below the 8, the 20, the 50, and the 34. Here's the 200-day down here. We're in the middle of the fib box. That's from the move from left here up to here. And so, is it time to get short and trade this to the downside? At this particular point, I'm going to say probably not. I would look, if I was going to try to get short this, it would have been better to get it at the moving averages. I'm looking for a preparation going into the end of the year, a prep that this will come down, find some support, and then rebound from there. Now we had that's almost a piercing line right there, which is a bullish reversal. But what I want to show you is that was a bullish reversal candlestick. However, my momentum indicators have not crossed up yet. So therefore, I have not had a total change in momentum. And while, yes, we did stick our head above this trend line, I can now redraw this trend line. Let me go ahead and grab that, activate it. And I think I can redraw it. Yeah, I can redraw it to those past highs right there. And that becomes kind of like, it actually makes a less steep trend line, which is a better thing anyway, better for us in that steep trend lines tend to get busted a lot. And so we'll be looking for that to basically, it basically may bounce between the 100 and the 200, and it may ping pong between there. And that may happen for several days and or weeks. And then we jump into the, again, anticipating on what tends to happen. Once we jump into the October, November, December timeframe, if I get the proper signals, I would be a buyer of IWM, expecting a nice move going into the end of the year. A nice something stuff your
stocking.
Yes, that's it. Stuff your stocking with. Sorry about that. So, what do you think, guys? Right now I'm in a wait mode. I will take downside trades on IWM and S&P. I prefer taking longer term trades on the Qs to the upside once I get a signal. And right now I don't have a signal.
I pretty much agree with what you're saying, although I must say I got very bullish based on Wednesday's and yesterday's price action. And from the recent highs, I had slowly taken off trades. I had gone from fully invested right after Labor Day to about 30% invested as of yesterday, not as of Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, I saw it as a little bit early, but reversal coming into the market, and I got fully invested in those 2 days. So I was back at 100% of my cash, not 100% of the cash, but of the cash I want to deploy
Right.
at any one time. I was fully invested, but today's action really surprised me, threw me for a loop, and I'm certainly going to be taking some trades off today. A lot of the recent entries are now signaling exit. So I'm in a downsize mode. I'm going to take trades off until we get more of a strong reversal. Then I'll start to add trades back in. But I'm basically in a liquidation mode, and I'm probably going to take off 15 to 20% of my trades by the end of the day today.
Okay, great. Anil?
I got stopped out quite a bit. I think roughly 30% invested.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. How much are you invested right now?
30%.
About 30%. Yeah. And so, like I said, I'm there's just nothing there. And one of the things I've been doing in some of my studies, and I'm writing my book about, is that this essence of waiting for your momentum to actually shift and get across, absolutely critical. Because I see too many people prematurely jumping into trades, even if they have a technical candlestick reversal pattern. If your momentum is not reversing also and crossing up, you are putting yourself in for the probability of that being a successful trade is much less than if you wait for the momentum to actually show you that it's shifted.
I agree, but for me, it's a delicate balance. Part of taking low risk trades is to try to get in early at lower prices, but there's a trade-off. If you get in too early, you can also increase the probability of not being successful.
Well, Steve, I agree with that concept. However, if a person like in this pattern right here, if they're buying right up against the moving averages there, that is not a high probability trade.
Yeah.
Even though we've had the reversal. Now, if they're buying right here at the 50% retracement on the fibs, it's a little bit better because they're really close to being able to jump up.
Right. Yeah, you got a lower risk trade as a result. Yeah.
We agree wholeheartedly. Now, then we can throw in the probability, the potential, if the momentums have not shifted up though. Yeah. I agree. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. I'm just saying the probability of being successful is a little bit less.
Right.
And so, okay, hey, let's take a look at the entities that the guys have here. I love this stock. I've been talking about this stock from Anil. So, as they say with the Ghostbusters, Anil, how are you going to trade this?
I'm buying it right here, right now.
Roger that.
And stopping at roughly where your red line, dotted line is.
Okay. Yeah, it's about a little bit, about 4%. Cool. That works for me. Where's your upside target up here? Back up in the past highs?
Yeah, it's around 142, 145 area.
Okay. So are you doing any of the extensions to the upside utilizing Fibonacci's to get your second target?
No, I'm just following my triple screen system and decide how long to hang on.
Okay. So I know that if I can just use your stock as an example, I know one of our members really loves to use the grab this right here, put it down to there, And what this does is it projects upward. And there is a high probability that if we get a position here, that it's going to jump up here and hit at least a 1272 also and the high. So if you take off some profit approaching this past high, and then that gives you some additional targets. And if you're using that technique, I encourage you back it off a little bit. Like right there, my 1272 is at 153.37. I would say, hey, if I get up to 152.50, take me out of take me off for a profit. And it'll be a nice profit, especially if you're in from where you're at. So that's just another exit technique that works out really well, because I think you're about a 12, 13, almost 14% move. So, okay, Steve. Good pick, Anil. I like it.
And I do too. It's an excellent looking chart.
Steve wants to do
a leveraged ETF.
A leveraged ETF. Now, he was talked into this.
Yeah.
And I know by who.
Yeah, by Eric, who should be on board. We've had conversations for quite some time now at various times. And he sent me a reminder about this setup. It's something I've been watching, but kind of got off my radar. Yeah. I like where it's located. I'm not particularly interested in taking a trade today. Given the market action today, I reversed my bullishness that I had gone through in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I think this is at a very good location. We've just made new highs. We're pulling back into the fib box. As long as I see a reversal pattern, and it's not yet occurring. Well, it occurred, but it's being reversed today. When we get the upside reversal, I'd be very much interested in taking a long side trade.
Cool.
But my caveat would be is I want the market to also indicate to me that the general market is also back on its legs toward the upside.
Right. Yeah.
Right now, it's don't know what it's going to do. Yeah.
Agree wholeheartedly. So let me ask Eric. Eric, did you buy it right here, bouncing off the 50% retracement? Let's see if he jumps in and tells us.
Maybe he's not here.
I know he's here.
Okay.
Trying to unmute him. Hello, Eric.
Yeah. It was giving me wouldn't let me talk. I was muted. I was already in, and I'm looking for the 127 fib extension to ultimately take me out. So,
where did you get in, Eric?
I got in at the earlier move up. I was close to there.
Over here?
I'm already up 36% in this position.
Okay. And Eric is doing exactly that. And taking, projecting. I'm going to project down. I've already projected this one down. Hold on a second. No, I have not. I'm going to project down from the high to the low. What that does is then that gives you your projection up to the upside. And I really like that technique. I like it, both techniques, because they can. And so Eric's utilizing. Now, have you taken off any profit at all yet, Eric?
Not quite yet. What most people are not discussing today is quadruple witching day.
Yep.
And therefore today's action is not surprising. I anticipate that today's action would occur. I see that it's nothing but positive, but that's just me.
Yeah, as long as we hold, Eric, I agree with you. As long as we hold.
So
my expectations is that we will hold.
Yeah.
And so Eric is utilizing, again, measuring the Fibonacci from this high to this low. Here's your 1272 extension. And that is a very, very good technique, guys. And, I don't know if Eric puts in his actual target to exit a little bit before that, so he exits on strength, or he wants his price action to blow through it. But it provides an objective area to get out. You can really define it. So it's not subjection. It's just not, willy-nilly feeling. It gives these Fibonacci's, they define, even if you can't see them, they define, it's not placed yet, define really excellent levels of potential support and resistance on the future. So thanks, Eric.
And the way I would answer, I'm sorry. The way I would answer.
I'm sorry, Steve.
No.
One at a time, guys. Come on.
Finish off, Eric.
My X is just one short of the 127. I want to be taken out on strength.
Right. And I'm not yet in this trade, but I would be entering. I was ready to enter today, but given the market action and potential reversal, it is triple witching or quadruple witching. So I'm not taking the trade today, but I would enter above today's high on Monday. If we end up holding, the market doesn't trade lower, I would go in above today's high on Monday. That's my way of entry with some buying, basically some evidence of buyers coming in that's taking the price higher. And the stop would be under today's low.
Excellent. My turn.
Yep.
Yeah, guys, I like to the upside. I like HOLX, maybe for a return back to the 80 level. At the same time, I don't like HOLX because it is basically now below the 8 and the 20, and it looks like the 8 and the 20 are going to cross. With that said, would I buy it right where it's at? It is at a level of past support, and so if I did take a trade on this bullish engulfing, my stop loss would be just below the, I'll give you the number. My stop loss would be at $76.44.
That's yesterday's low. That's yesterday's low.
Yeah, about a dime below yesterday's low. Things are turning up on it. The one thing, this is a lower probability trade if I take it to the upside. Because why? Because my TSI, my momentums have not shifted up to the upside yet. And so anytime you trade just based off of the candlestick and the level of support without the finalized move in momentum, you could either do one or two things: take a smaller position or just keep your stop loss acceptably tight. So that's my upside trade. Now I'm going to just basically throw out some that I think are going to basically get, again, part of this is I'm liking BNTX to the downside. It has not totally broken down yet. And part of the reason why I like that is Pfizer's CEO or one of them said that the Pfizer shot is basically waning on its ability to keep people out of the hospital. Now that may be offset because of the demand to take, booster shots and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's one of those situations. You could either look at this and say, hey, this is positive to the upside or positive to the downside. Jim Cramer says don't short the vaccines, companies. But at the same time, the news coming out about the vaccines can be a potential negative part. And I also like Moderna, also, which way? To the downside. Now it's showing, again, this is kind of like a cup with handle, so it could be that way also. But again, my longer term, the moving averages, the momentum on the weekly charts has started to shift. I have a bearish Harami on a weekly chart. I had the shooting star on the weekly chart from several weeks ago is still in effect. And so it could go either way. I'm not going to short it yet because I don't have a total signal to short it. I could do a spread based on trying to do a spread off of the 8-day moving average. But again, I have not crossed. It would be much better if I could get a cross of the 8 below the 50, but I am looking to trade the back stocks to the downside. And it has nothing to do with I'm just looking at the chart and looking what has come before. So that's what I'm looking at, guys.
And I'm on that particular stock. I was in on 9.2, but I'm looking at an exit potentially today. So basically in agreement with you on mRNA.
Oh, you're looking to trade it to the downside?
No, I'm looking to exit. I've been long since 9.2.
Yeah.
And it's signaling an exit for me today. So it's in sync with your thinking about potentially shorting it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, I think, I really, again, this is partly opinion. This is partly some of the other stuff that I'm reading. But when the CEO of the company comes out and says, hey, it's not working as good as what we thought it was going to work or something like that, that makes my ears prick up. Now, will that news get out to the world? Who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
On Facebook and in Facebook, it probably won't. So, okay, hey, there we go. Let's go ahead and jump over and finish everything else off, guys. Hey, if you're not an Autopilot trading person, you need to be. And so basically go and jump on board and put your trades on Autopilot. We give basically 7 setups per week. Those of the members who traded with us this past week had a really nice run up in. What'd you get, Phil? You were in on that on Crocs. We basically jumped on a Crocs trade, and it has been doing really, really well. And we're starting to implement our pyramiding in process. Therefore, improving, enhancing the probability of basically being able to grow your wealth and also let your winners run. So, guys, hey, 2021, just continue to work on your consistency, your discipline, your planning for wealth building. Keep your egg growing, trade well, and prosper. Premium members will be back with you at the top of the hour with the final hour. We'll be talking through a few more of the trades we're looking at. And Steve and Anil, I just want to say thank you guys. Good discussion today.
You're welcome. Our pleasure.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it. Thanks.
And so we'll catch up with you guys next week. Great stock choices today. And so aloha and God bless everybody.